Welcome to the third episode of the List Night podcast. My name is Griffin, and as always, I'll be the most attractive host that money can buy. Each week, I'm joined by my A1 Day Ones, Andrew Simon and Thomas Albert. If you're new to List Night or need a refresher, here's how it breaks down. Each episode will dive into a subject that we've determined ahead of time and focused way too much of our mental energy towards in order to individually rank things according to our opinions on the subject. All lists are generally subjective, and we're all more than happy to tell each other why our lists are better than others, but you've got to be able to argue your case. In past episodes, we've touched on the best pizza chains, worst New Year's resolutions, and the best kids shows of the 90s, among others, and we're always open to audience feedback and suggestions. All you've got to do is hit us up on Twitter @ListNight. The pod is still new, and we're still figuring it out week to week. No reason to pretend otherwise, so the format could change as we figure things out. If there's something you like one episode that we don't do the next, let us know in the comments and make sure to leave your own response list. List Night is for the people, and we want y'all to have as much fun with this as we do every week. If you're watching us on YouTube, remember to throw us a like and subscribe to our channel. Every bit of support helps, and we appreciate all of it. Thanks again for joining us for this episode, and without further ado, let's get into it. You're throwing it upwards now. All right. This week, episode 3, we're going to be doing, for our main list, we're going to be doing historical figures that we would like to fight. And the main criteria for this one, we didn't set a whole lot of rules on it. It's kind of our thing not to set a lot of rules. The only rule that I think that we set, and we didn't say nobody could be picked, we said that they had to be dead. So as long as they are dead prior to January 21st of 2021, they are a historical figure. And we can get in fights with them. And the order for this week is going to be me, and then it's going to be, and I always forget what the order is going to be. Andrew next. Andrew second. Yeah, hell yeah. And then Tommy's going to bring it up the rear. Bring up the rear. Excuse me.
Jesus.
I'll be honest, bud. I checked for the date because I was not confident in you knowing the date.
I checked the date too. I've worked all day and I've written so many emails, with January 21st in them, and I still had to check because this feels like, just like 2020, this month has felt like it lasted 6 months. So I don't even know what's going on.
Andrew, we're 30 seconds in and Griffin's already telling us how much he works and, how great he is. But yeah, it's going to be a fun night.
Yeah. I will say Griffin currently being alive is the only thing that kept him from being number one on my list.
So that was a thing. Like, we didn't define historical figure. Like, it was literally, like, I could have said my great-great-grandpa. Like, I wouldn't because he might have been okay. Probably not. He probably sucked. But, like, that was the thing. Like, we didn't define what a historical figure was.
I don't think you need to define what a historical figure is. I think it's someone that you can reasonably expect to find in like a history book or, if they are at the point where they have a Wikipedia page about them and it was not written by that person, I think that they'd be defined as a historical figure. But again, maybe we should have defined it more. So maybe your list is just filled with your dead family members that you want to get in fights with. I don't know. I didn't know that about you.
But one person on my list does not have a Wikipedia page, but they are mentioned in other Wikipedia pages.
Interesting. Wow.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I already said this to Andrew. Like, I don't think I'm going to get the most votes this week because, again, don't play to the masses.
Not a whole lot's going to change then. Okay.
So. 5-second sidebar. Can we just talk about how I dominated last week? The results came in. I just blew it out of the water. So
we can talk about how you dominated last week because my hope is that you're not going to have those kind of overwhelming victories in the future. And really, I find it really interesting that you didn't make any effort to tally up any votes from people during week 1 on the week where people like universally agreed that I was either the best list or like a very close second. You waited until week 2 knowing that you had SpongeBob at the top of your list and that all the dumb idiots that are our age are going to vote for you just for SpongeBob with their awful taste and their bad takes. So it's fine, as long as we all know that Thomas is 2 for 2 on third place. And according to him, he's about to go 3 for 3.
Griffin, I don't think your argument for, I guess, trying to get more votes should be I got close second one time and second another. And also calling, you say people are our age group idiots, but like that's right now our entire audience, I would say. I should listen to this like in 2022, you coming back because we're super famous. Right now I'm doing 3 sponsorships, whatever. I just feel like you're going the wrong route.
I think it's worth mentioning that Andrew's dad is part of our audience, and he is, no offense to him at all. He looks great. He's not part of our age group.
He didn't vote though.
Did we not count his?
He didn't
He
vote.
didn't. That's right. He didn't vote.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because
Your dad doesn't like the pod.
He basically said he was disappointed in me that I didn't include something that he thought I was going to include.
yeah,
So
that's
that's
true.
a vote for me and Thomas, I would argue.
we're off topic.
We're never off topic. Everything's on topic. Regardless, we will jump into it. Like I said, I'm going to go first. I'm going to follow it up with Andrew. Tommy's going to go last. Historical figures we'd like to fight. I'm probably going to get a lot of really negative feedback on this list. I'm probably going to say some names that people are going to be a little unhappy with me about. I'm going to start my list. And this is not my number 1. I want to be very clear. This is my number 5 before people get super heated with me. Walt Disney. Thomas is silently cheering, so I imagine I don't know if maybe it was going to be on Thomas's list later. Maybe it's still going to be on his list, or maybe he's just really excited as somebody that used to work for Marvel that I also have beef with Walt Disney. Walt Disney was probably a fairly swell guy. I have no fucking idea, but he created Disney, which is just monopolizing media. And like, yeah, Disney creates a lot of great stuff, and Disney owns Marvel, and Disney owns Star Wars, and Disney owns everything cool under the sun. And I hate that. I hate it so much, and I blame him for that. And I blame him for people being obsessed with Disney World and Disneyland and the Disney park experience and being just psychopaths about it. And I'm gonna get like, when Julia listens to this, she's in the other room, she might be able to hear me. When she listens to this, she's going to come out of her room and she's going to hit me because she loves Disney World and she loves the Disney park experience and all this. Walt Disney, fuck you, man. If I could punch you in the face, I would, because you have created a billion fans that I find irritating as shit.
So, I'll just say he's not on my list, but like he crossed my mind. But yeah, bold move by you. Just given your relationship situation, if you need a place to stay, I have a spare room. Like, I feel everything you said. It's also funny to me that this is 2 episodes in a row where someone on this podcast has said "fuck" and Disney within the same sentence, as in "fuck you, Disney's Recess." So like,
Don't get me started on Disney's Recess. We're moving on from that.
Which really, considering my take, like last week my take was like Disney can do no wrong, and this week my take is Walt Disney is a top 5 person that I would like to fight, like literally bring back from the dead so that I can fight. So my opinions are incredibly inconsistent. Number 4.
Well, I'll say
ahead.
that I wait. Hold on. I actually also considered Walt Disney for a little bit. So
Oh shit.
So if you're looking to if you're looking for controversy, I guess Thomas and I in this case are not the people that are going to give it to you. And I think your biggest issue, and kind of mine too, is with the Disney adults, like Disney adults. It's not really with
Yes.
Walt Disney himself. It's so just figured I'd say that.
I do find it weird that neither of you mentioned that you didn't like Jewish people, but like you're just mad about what came after Disney.
A lot of people
Disney.
don't like. I do want to be clear, as a Jewish man, a lot of people don't like Jewish people. If I put all of them on my list, this would be a lot more than a top 5. And if we're also doing like historical figures that don't like Jewish people, again, Walt Disney not going to crack the list. And yes, Thomas is correct. It's most of them, if not all of them. I imagine George Washington had some hot takes about the Jews.
Andrew's right. It's a hot topic, a high alert pick, but not for the 2 of us.
Again, I'm not going to get any votes. People are going to be pissed about this one. Regardless, moving on to number 4, Number 4 on my list is Genghis Khan. And Genghis Khan is a little bit more of a nuanced pick. One of the greatest conquerors that ever lived. I don't know what he was like in a fist fight, but I've got to imagine he is better than me. One of the main reasons that I want Genghis Khan on my list is because Genghis Khan, there's that whole fact about how Genghis Khan, because he was so prolific in his sexual escapades, he's responsible for like 6% of the population in various parts of Asia. Like, he has more descendants than anybody else on this earth. The biggest flex that you can possibly pull on somebody is beating the shit out of their dad. And if I beat the shit out of Genghis Khan, I'm beating the shit out of like 800 million people's ancestral father. And I would be able to lord that around on them forever. So Genghis Khan, not a swell guy, probably nothing like Walt Disney, number 4 on my list.
Gotcha. I was actually about to ask why, just because he spread his seed so much, why that was a reason to fight him. And I figured you were gonna just like say that you were like jealous or something. So that's a better reason that you gave.
So, yeah, that's one of the funnier things you ever said, Griffin. Not a name I thought would cross anyone's list tonight, though. I mean, he definitely would beat any of us.
Oh, yeah, he
easily.
beat my ass.
For sure. And sidebar, Genghis Khan, great Gen 1 Pokemon.
Oh, yeah. OG 151 Pokemon list. I don't want to say coming soon, but coming eventually.
Eventually.
Yeah.
All right, who's your 3?
Number 3 on my list, right in the middle, is Ayn Rand. Getting a little political with that pick. I find her to be an abhorrent individual. I think everything she stood for is relatively awful. I think objectivism is an awful, awful type of political theory. Everything that I've heard about her, from the various affairs she engaged in and the like cult-like atmosphere that she kind of propagated, she seems like the worst. Also, I'm pretty sure, based on like artist depictions of her, she was probably about 5 feet tall, maybe 95 pounds, soaking wet. I'm pretty sure I would jack her up. Like, I'd bring her back from the dead, put her in her prime. I don't care. I'd bring her back, and it'd be like 4-piece and a side of fries. She's down on the ground, and I've got my own political theory now.
4-piece and a side of fries? What?
4-piece and a side of fries. You know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Griffin Queen, famously not a fan of libertarianism. It's great. Okay.
I said objectivism. I didn't say libertarianism. I said objectivism, which is worse. Also not a huge libertarian fan, but I'm not like super against. Like, there's good aspects to it. Objectivism, however, is awful.
No arguments here.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird for you to be so proud about that you could beat her up, but yeah, I mean, go for it, bud.
I'm proud about a lot of people I can beat up. Although at this point,
is
I
there
am
any
out of my prime.
Her, like, is there any hesitation on your end for picking someone that small, just of stature?
No, because I've got to believe that like Genghis Khan probably weighed more than her, but was probably not significantly bigger than her, considering the time period and the part of the world that he was in, and just like the dietary, like the lack of nutrition in a growing conqueror's life at that point. Like, I don't know how tall Genghis Khan is. I'm gonna say he probably topped out at 5'6", just a guess.
Yeah, but like, he was riding a horse. And then when they took breaks, he was just benching it, like, just nonstop. That's what I hear, anyway, from his descendants.
That's the thing that you hear about Genghis Khan, is that he was benching his horse?
Yeah. Is that not a history book, bud? Check it out.
Hey, I mean, you might be right. I'm not reading the right history books. I'm spending more time thinking about...
This list is quite the 180. This list is quite the 180 from where we were last week with kids shows of the 90s.
I will say, like, I thought my list had some like variety on it. You got a range here. You got a range.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Number 4 you know, he's still kind of different from these other ones. Or sorry, number two on my list. The fourth one that I'm going to say, but number 2 on my list. And I do want to be clear. 2 through 5, like I want to fight all of them, but one stands alone. But I'll get to that in a moment. Number 2 on my list is William Shakespeare.
Elaborate.
Okay, I see Thomas stopping himself from talking. I want to hear what he's going to say.
Before you start, I just want to point out that in your top 5, you have 2 people who arguably, at this point in time, 2021, have influenced culture and the arts more than anyone else.
Yeah, and I want to
Disney
bring them back
in
to life
modern
so I can
times.
kick their asses. I don't think that's a
Okay,
weird take.
I just want it to be known that you hate art and culture. Give us your reason.
I would argue that I like art and culture more than most people. And here's the thing. William Shakespeare, I really don't have any like personal beef with William Shakespeare. Like I like Shakespearean work.
How could you?
Right. I like adaptations of Shakespearean work, but really, and this is also kind of like how my beef with Walt Disney is like a beef with Disney adults. My beef with William Shakespeare is that Shakespearean writing ruins reading and ruins the study of English for so many people as they go through like primary school. And they're probably not really elementary school because I don't think you read any Shakespeare in elementary school. But in middle school and high school, I cannot count the number of people that have probably been turned off of the literary arts because of William Shakespeare and because of teachers who think just by the nature of Shakespeare being such a prolific, important writer means that it's something that you need to consume in English class and something that they're qualified to teach on. And so often they're not. And that's not to say that they're not educated on him, but it's very difficult to impart on a class of 13-year-olds what's important about Shakespeare's writing and what's important about the satire that he's working with and what's important about the way that he uses language and the way that language evolved because of him. And so many people are dumber because Shakespeare was used as a tool to teach them and it turned them away from learning. And so again, it's not a personal beef with William Shakespeare. It's a beef with what exists in education because of Shakespeare. That said, I feel like he would wear a funny outfit, and if I were to bring him back to life, I would knock some floppy little hat off of his head and drill him into the dirt.
Okay. It's a pretty eloquent like argument. It's not really what I was expecting, and I mean, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I think there is and I probably was part of it, honestly, in like, middle school, high school, when you're reading Shakespeare and you can't understand it and it turns you off from diving deeper into literary arts. So I get your argument. I never in 100 years would think about it, but yeah, good for you.
Yeah, I think your beef is more with like school systems
Yeah.
than with Shakespeare. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. It's tough. Like a lot of kids that are 14 to 17 years old are just like a lot of them would appreciate a lot of the books that are required in English and literature classes later on in life. I feel like, but obviously for the ones that are interested at a young age, you want to get them started at a young age. So where's the balance there? But yeah, interesting pick. I'd pay to watch that fight, Griffin and Shakespeare.
Yeah. I of all the fights you've listed, that's probably the one I want to see the most.
Really?
I did think your argument. I thought your argument was going to be, again, like Disney, about Disney adults, but about like theater kids grown up, but like not still in theater.
Nah, I don't have huge beef with
People
theater
obsessed
kids.
with Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just what I thought you were going with. But no,
I don't have the
Andrew's right.
time to have
You don't
beef
like
with
the
theater
education
kids.
system. That's fair.
So far, I have beef with Disney adults. I have beef with dads. I have beef with political theory. I have beef with literature and bad education. And for my number 1 pick, and this is just because I have beef with this guy, Ronald Reagan. fuck Ronald Reagan. That's it. That's my argument. Fuck Ronald Reagan.
I considered him not to get too political, but also to get very much too political. I considered him, and I replaced him actually on my list with somebody else who I think you will enjoy that he's on my list. But yeah, I don't think it's a secret for anyone that knows me that I'm not a fan of modern day conservatism, and he is the father of the modern Republican Party. And yeah, not a fan of trickle down economics. It doesn't work. All right, I'm going to stop here. This is this is for my Twitter account. This isn't for list night.
Yeah, if you want to hear hot takes about Ronald Reagan, make sure you follow People's Rep of Andrew and at Griffin Q on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, Reagan is the gateway to what we have now in terms of one party.
Well, what we had yesterday.
Yes.
But what we have now, absolutely.
Like, not even including what he did while he was in office and all the issues he caused then. He was the gateway, in my mind, and obviously your guys, and I think plenty of others, to what it has become. And I will say this, and I said this before. No one who is a celebrity should be a president.
You mean you're not going to vote for The Rock in 2024?
I love Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I love you, Dwayne. You're the best.
Love to have you on the pod.
You don't have my vote. You don't have my vote.
Would love to have you on the pod. If that's like in the ether, if we're thinking about that, if he's thinking about it, hey man, we'd love to have you on. And honestly, I probably would vote for you at that point. That'd be a big get.
I can't wait for your new show about when you're a kid. But if you want my vote, come on the pod and we'll talk about it. So Griffin, cool. You heard Andrew and me. What's your reasoning for Reagan?
Oh no, I don't think I really need to give any additional reasoning. I think you guys kind of made my argument for me. If you want long form analysis on why I hate Ronald Reagan, there's a lot of think pieces about it. Just pretend that I wrote all of them. But just to go back from the top, Walt Disney, Genghis Khan, Ayn Rand, William Shakespeare, and the number one bitch of them all, Ronald Reagan. Andrew, turning it over to you, my guy.
Respectable list. Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see if anyone votes on this out of our fans and how they will vote, because this is it's a strange topic. And we really got one out of left field for episode number 3.
Yeah, but it's interesting, right?
It is. We're not keeping it stale, that's for sure. Okay, so number 5 on my list.
Before you go, really quick, I do want to say, and you guys may disagree with me on this, I think I would go probably 4 for 5 on these fights. I think the only guy I'm struggling with is probably Genghis Khan.
So, I think it depends. Well, no, Reagan. Reagan lied about his service.
I don't think we need to get into it, but he probably did. Yeah,
whatever. I would say it depends on Reagan and like Disney's age when you fight him. But honestly, no. Yeah, I'll give you 4 out of 5. I'll give you that. Actually,
thanks, man.
Yeah, I'll give you. Yeah, William Shakespeare was probably sneaky, but you're tall.
Man, tall.
So number 5 on my list is the one that is the most political, at least in terms of today's climate. And he is also the most recent to die. Roger Ailes. So I think he is a disgusting, gross propagandist who has taken generations of what I consider to be good-hearted people and good-hearted Americans and made them believe lies and basically made them root against their own interest for the benefit of the wealthy. And again, I'm not trying to get like my entire thesis on this or anything, but obviously chairman of Fox News, among other media, I just think he has just done so much bad and created so much more bad that we're at the point now where, conspiracy theories get basically mixed in with mainstream news. And that whole just like segment of news or entertainment news. We need us needing entertainment with our news and news with our entertainment. It's just conflated so many things, and just not a fan. Sorry, that one's not too funny. It's just kind of serious.
I mean, I can't blame you for him being there, like at all.
Yeah, I mean it's not entirely unlike the Ronald Reagan pick. It's one of the people most responsible for where we are in terms of just like country division, like nation division, and also like where our news media is and where our political theory has gone and who we are as people. He is massively responsible for that disconnect between different segments of this country. And he's an absolute bastard. I'm not afraid to say it. Like, it is what it is. That's a good pick, Andrew. I like that pick. I didn't even think about that.
You shouldn't be afraid. He's dead. You're fine.
I kind of had like a short list of more recent politicians that I was going to consider for this, and then I just took them all off and replaced them with Roger Ailes, and I was like, that's a better one. I'd rather fight him. I'm glad we got through that one because the top 4 on my list are more jokey and funny, so I'm looking forward to them.
Is this a comedy podcast or a serious podcast? Because I thought we were going serious.
Variety.
I'm pretty sure we're a politics podcast now.
Yeah, really.
We are now.
Okay. Number 4 on my list, Pablo Picasso. Because no one cares. No one cares. That's my argument. Like the whole I had to Google what the art style was. Cubism, surrealism. No one cares.
So let me just get it really, really straight and really out there. You think if you were to bring Pablo Picasso back to life, nobody would care about him, nobody cared about him previously, or nobody would care about the fact that you're fighting him? Like, which part do no one care about?
Oh, no. I'm saying about his art, no one cares.
Got it.
So I want to fight. So I want to fight him for that. Again, this so, you think you're the only one who's going to piss people off, Griffin? We are all going to piss people off, and
it's it's a really hot take for somebody that's currently expressing themselves on an artistic medium that no one cares about.
Yeah. So, like, I don't particularly care, but I feel like people care about Pablo. But I just like
you guys on a first name basis.
Yeah, we are. I was worried I wouldn't be able to say Picasso without stuttering, but I did that time, so we're good. Like, where did this? Because no one cares about art, or no one cares about Pablo Picasso in general.
Specifically, Pablo Picasso's art. I don't know. This isn't like I'm not ready to die on this hill. This isn't like a Disney's Recess kind of thing. It just kind of came to me, and maybe I just kind of had an artistic vision, and this appeared, so I wrote it down.
It sounds like you think Pablo Picasso's a little overrated, and because of that, you want to physically assault him.
Yes.
I will say this is probably the first time ever that Pablo Picasso and Disney's Recess has been mentioned in the same sentence. But I just want it to be clear out there. Griffin hates William Shakespeare, the father of like literature, and Andrew hates Pablo Picasso. Andrew hates art.
Well, at least everyone on our lists have Wikipedia pages, Thomas. Like you just picked like random Joe down the street.
Your guy's gonna have one of those red names on Wikipedia where you click on it and it leads nowhere.
It's not even a link.
It's not even linked.
The page is incomplete.
All right,
yeah.
Keep going.
All right.
Weird pick. I'll say this. I don't necessarily disagree, but weird pick.
I'll give you that. It's weird. It's weird. As are the rest of mine. Number 3 is probably the least weird of my remaining 3. Number 3, Alexander the Great. I just think if you have the Great in your name, you are an egotistical maniac and a crazy narcissist. Both of those things Alexander the Great actually was. I did a little bit of research today on him because I wrote his name down immediately and then realized I didn't know that much about him. But the guy literally thought he was the son of Zeus. Like he is Griffin Queen if Griffin Queen lived back then. Like he is just overrated in every sense of the word. he inherited everything. Like he's supposed to be this great king, but I mean he inherited everything and only cared about himself. Overrated. Terrible nickname. Hate the guy. Would fight him.
So, you can go, Griffin. You got a lot pent up. Go for it.
I was just gonna say it's really, really interesting that you make the Griffin Queen Alexander the Great comparison, because I want to. Should I ever have kids, I want to name my first son Alexander after Alexander the Great, and I imagine that he is going to have similar ego issues that I do.
So
that's really all I've got to say on it.
Andrew's gonna fight your son. It's gonna happen.
I could see that happening anyways. If my son ends up being like me, he's probably going to have a lot of people that want to fight him one day.
So, maybe I don't know enough history. Actually, that's not true. I don't know enough history. Was he called Alexander the Great while he was alive?
I actually don't know that, but if it was up to him, he probably tried to start that nickname.
Yeah, he'd probably go for something even bigger. He'd be like Alexander the God or something like that, and God would be spelled.
Yeah, he literally thought he was like the son of Zeus.
Yeah, but I read the Percy Jackson novels, and like I'm almost 30 and still hope that one of the gods is gonna be like, "Hey, you're my son," and I have a dad that I love, but I'm still like, "Hey, maybe Poseidon gonna claim me."
I do often hope that too. That's weird. It's weird that we both hope that one day we're just going to be like, oh no, we are chosen by destiny and fate and the universe. Cool.
We
I
all
knew
special.
it. I always knew it.
Yeah, but Thomas, yours is like more of like a sad thing, not as much like an egotistical thing.
Yeah, but I blame
Griffin. Yours is an egotistical.
Yeah, that's true. I blame the motivational posters in high school, middle school. That was like, everyone's special. Shoot for the moon. If you miss, you land among the stars. Like, I blame that for my issues now.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things that we can blame for your
too
issues
positive.
now. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Good pick.
We don't have enough time.
Good pick.
Number 2 on my list, I wanted to include an American president because I'm a scholar of the American presidents and I wanted to include one. And instead of coming up with actual reasons, I came up with a dumb reason. My pick is Grover Cleveland. And the reason that my pick is Grover Cleveland is because he's the only president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms. So he screws up all the numbering. Whenever there's like, president number 44, 45, whatever, he's 22 and 24. He screws everything up. He screws up the whole numbering system just because he couldn't, just leave. You lost to Benjamin Harrison. You got to come back 4 years later because he can't give it up. And he won. And
so then by that logic, he shouldn't just leave. If he won again.
He actually won the popular vote 3 times in a row. So I do feel a little bit bad for him because he lost the Electoral College while winning the popular vote in 1888. But still, at that point, just give it up.
So he crossed my mind for no real reason. He didn't make my list because I didn't have a reason to hate him because I don't have a weird thing about numbers. But Trump's going to win in 4 years, so he's going to do the same thing to the numbering.
I will.
So
we can revisit the podcast in 4 years, and Andrew can update his picks.
I mean, the second that guy dies, he's jumping to number 1. I think we all know that.
No, Cleveland. But like I said, Cleveland crossed my mind for no particular reason. So I get it, and you found a reason, so that's fair.
I do want to say, I honestly thought that if he was going to include a president on his list, Andrew was going to say George Washington. So at least they
would never.
So at least they could share a few moments together before Andrew screams, "Step on me, Daddy," at old GW.
Like I said, I thought about putting George Washington just to create some tension, but I couldn't do that to George.
Yeah, I mean, no one wants to include George.
What do you think my relationship to George Washington is?
It's almost exclusively sexual.
See, I think it's almost exclusively not. Yeah. George Washington is not a sexual being.
I think Andrew would disagree.
No, I would not disagree.
Yeah, you're
I would not disagree at all.
I know.
Last note on last note on Grover Cleveland. Maybe I shouldn't have included him because I currently live in a neighborhood in DC that is literally named after him.
Move.
Anyway, okay. So
Your stalkers are going to find you now, but go
on to my
on.
number one. And I was telling Thomas before we started recording that I think my thing on this podcast is that I kind of cheat a little bit every week. Like with the
I
movies,
agree.
I included a trilogy as one of my picks, which is borderline cheating. Then in last week I had SpongeBob, but only seasons 1 through 3, so I kind of just cheated a tiny bit. I'm cheating a little bit with this.
I feel like you don't know the meaning of borderline.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So
you
I'm cheating.
are in fact cheating.
Yeah, well, I'm cheating probably more than ever with this one because this number one pick is not necessarily a person, but
I
Old
swear to God, if you
Testament
say
God.
oh, okay.
Old Testament God. I mean, talk about a dick. Talk about the dick of dicks. The asshole of assholes. Floods, famine, just casual genocides every couple pages.
I've seen that
Anger
video.
issues.
The asshole. Of
Anger
assholes.
issues. Totally bipolar. Just like the guy was like all over the place. And I mean, that's not to say there was no good, but just the insane behavior from a deity.
Yeah, but for like, you could have picked any like Greek or Roman god for that same reasoning. Like all of them, all gods
Yeah,
at the time when they were supposed to be around were bipolar and
But they're a lot
terrible.
less of a big deal
And
now,
yet,
so I do get where he's coming from.
yeah, I
that's
wanted the
true.
one god.
I mean, I did mention Jesus Christ on my list, but mainly because I didn't think he'd fight back. So
Okay.
That's why Gandhi was originally on my list. I wanted to see how far he would take nonviolence.
I mean,
I'm a-
this is one episode where I could not have guessed either of your guys' list.
I think we might lose
Except
friendships
for-
by releasing this one.
I hope so.
So yeah, so that's my list. That's number 5 Roger Ailes, number 4 Pablo Picasso, number 3 Alexander the Great, number 2 Grover Cleveland, and number 1 Old Testament God. And I think I would 3 for 5 maybe I would go in those fights.
Who are your 3?
Roger Ailes, Pablo Picasso, and Grover Cleveland.
I don't think you'd beat Grover Cleveland.
I don't think you beat Picasso.
He was a big man. He'd probably beat
I
me.
think you at
All right,
best go 2 for 5.
So
Yeah.
both your lists kind of threw me for loops, but like Pablo Picasso more than anything, that's still blowing my mind.
It's
But all right,
it's a pretty wild pick. I don't think about Pablo Picasso enough for him to make it on the list, but clearly Andrew does. Also, Andrew, when you said it's not like an actual historical figure, I thought you were going to say Pangea, and I don't know why.
This bitch don't know about Pangea.
This bitch don't know about Pangea. But yeah, that's the direction I thought you were going to go in with it.
See, I thought you were going to be more like, the two-party system or something. Like
That
I
is an
didn't know where
Andrew
you were
answer.
going.
That's an Andrew answer. Some sort of fucking wishy-washy bullshit that doesn't at all follow the prompt. That's an Andrew answer.
But you know what's bullshit? Is this guy's going to get votes for saying God? Because how many times do we curse God for our lives? He's going to get votes for this
You
shit.
said that you
Fucking
thought about
shit.
putting Jesus Christ on your list.
Yeah, but I didn't because I'm trying to play to everybody.
I
I
put-
no, I don't.
I
play
put
with
the Republican God on my list. Ronald Reagan was number 1.
That's true. All right,
Yeah.
I'll go to mine. Yeah, I struggle with this list honestly, and some of these are out there.
Third place,
So,
here we
number
come.
5. Number 5, and I don't know if you guys would even know this or like anyone will, but Joseph Hatch. No, okay.
You're gonna have to refresh my memory.
So he's, I guess, a businessman, politician from New Zealand area, and Macquarie Island is halfway between New Zealand and Antarctica, and it was discovered in the 1810 or something.
Sure.
But from 1902 to the end of World War One, Joseph Hatch was responsible for millions of penguins dying on that island to be oil and other things in general. But before that, it was mainly the seals, and then it was the elephant seals. But millions of penguins died because of him. And at one point, they were like, you have to stop doing this. And World War I happened, and no one cared. So he kept doing it. And then after he killed millions of penguins, they introduced mice and rats to the island. So then they introduced cats to take care of those. Then they had to get rid of the cats. Then the rabbit population exploded. So they had to get rid of the rabbits. It took them from 2007 to 2014, like a 7-year project, to finally say rodent-free island. This dude was there in 1902. So for 100 years, he fucked this island.
This is incredibly educational. I don't think this is going to get you a lot of votes if people don't listen to the pod, if they just go off of like our Instagram and Twitter posts. But if somebody listens to this, I think you're going to get some votes because I don't know anything about this guy and I hate this guy now.
Go on, Andrew.
Did you learn about this like from the Dollop or another podcast? Or
So, I was going to say it. I didn't know if I could promote it, but yeah, the Dollop podcast with Gareth Reynolds and Dave Anthony. What's up, guys? Call us up. They have an episode about it. And like I listened to it a long time ago and re-listened to it this week because it's one incredibly interesting, but also like crazy.
And you're a huge fan of the Dollop, right?
Yeah, big fan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, love it.
Yeah, it's I haven't heard that episode, but it sounded like the way you were telling that story, it sounded like it could have been one of their episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, fuck that guy. You said that he was killing millions of penguins for oil. I assume you mean for the land, the oil under the land, or was he grinding up penguins and making oil out of them?
Grinding up penguins.
Wait, what?
Like, you know how they used to use seal oil for lubrication and lamps?
Holy shit! I thought you meant he was like killing them to take the land.
Oh no!
Holy shit!
They had machinery and like refineries there, and they would walk them into them and then like club them over the head.
Jesus Christ!
Grind them up. Listen to the Dollop or find the text. Yeah.
Oh my god!
This is going to get me to go on a tiny little spiel. If you have any charities that you know of that support like the conservation of animals or anything like that, I don't know. Maybe go throw them $10.
No, but the thing is, this dude was also he was like almost shit. I looked up earlier. He was old. He lived like he was like 90, so he was like 73, and still doing this during World War I. Was still sending his company to go do this. So like. I could take him at 73, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, go fight that guy.
Yeah, I wish you would. I wish you would. That's a really out of left field pick. I had no idea who that was prior to your rant about him, but yeah, big time fuck that guy. I don't like the pick in terms of it being a popular one, but I like it. No. Like objectively, I like it.
All right, so number 4. Wow. Also, this person does not have a Wikipedia page that I was able to find.
Sure.
Alice Moore. So in 1974 in West Virginia, there was a boycott and some violence about textbooks going into schools. And she was on the Board of Education, I believe. And she essentially stopped these textbooks going into schools. And the biggest name in these textbooks that like threw out to me was the autobiography of Malcolm X. So this woman and her crew, in my mind, is a large reason why textbooks sucked when we were in high school and middle school and probably still suck today. There are so many books that they stopped from going in. And this was in West Virginia, but it kind of percolated all over because they were the first like cases of it. But they stopped textbooks going in that would teach you multicultural and like a very diverse education, and they wanted a very Christian standard listen to your parents education. So Alice Moore I blame very heavily for the terrible textbooks that are still going on today.
Yeah,
Right. So in other words, she's pretty directly responsible for whitewashing history,
Yes.
especially as it's taught to children and teenagers,
Yeah.
which is a very lasting negative impact on society.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. It's like she obviously is not a big name, but she was a direct point to what happened educate in our educational system from 1974 on, even if she wasn't directly responsible again and again. Like I think, if that court case and that situation doesn't go her way, we live in a different world right now.
yeah. I mean, there's a few companies that are based in Texas, and I don't know if they have any relation to her, but they largely affect the textbooks that are disseminated across the country now. And that's, I mean, I can't think of any reason why Texas, of all places, would have an interest in encouraging very specific political views and views on history. Oh, wait, I can think of a million reasons why Texas, of all places, would do that. So we
I
both
just
have
want to
issues with
put it out there
education
that
on this one.
yeah, I was gonna say that is a connection with your educational system argument. I mean Shakespeare. But I want it out there that Andrew and I don't hate Texas. So keep
I
listening
don't
to the
hate
pod.
Texas. I don't have any beef
Um,
with Texas. Texas is dope. There's dope parts in Texas, but there's also
yeah,
less dope parts of Texas.
yeah, so I mean those are my two picks that are left field and I
All right.
little known. But like again, to me, like I mean, Joseph Hatch, millions of penguins died because of him, and shit got fucked up for a long time. And Alice Moore ruined shit. So number three was Ronald Reagan. Um, pretty much all reasons that we said before. I mean, he ignored AIDS. He's the reason kids are fat. Tripled the national debt. Like, dude sucked. Dude sucked. Whatever. But I'm gonna replace him with Harry Anslinger. He is essentially what was he? He was. I had it written somewhere. He's essentially the reason that pot is illegal in our country. He was like the head of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics
Mm-hmm.
and was not against marijuana. And then, for whatever reason, money or whatever, uh, marijuana is illegal largely because of him. And not that I care that much about marijuana itself, like for personal reasons, but the number of people in jail and the issues it's caused because of him, huge. He could probably kick my ass, but I'd go for it.
Hey, man, you're gonna get
I'd
the
go for it.
educated pothead vote.
Let's say he wasn't. Ronald Reagan was my three because I felt I really wanted Reagan on it, but you said it, so I'll throw Harry in there for good measure.
Yeah, I'm
Love to
learning
see
a
it.
lot.
Yeah, you came prepared.
I vote for your list already. I don't vote for my list. But yeah, it's gonna be like as an Instagram post for list night. It's gonna be a tough sell just because you need to assume that people are gonna like Google these people. But I'm learning a lot and I'm enjoying it.
So number two, no one's gonna need to Google this guy. Christopher Columbus. Fuck that guy. Like, get your own land. Get your own fucking land, dude. Dude sucked. I mean, fuck that guy. You don't deserve a holiday.
He was
Yeah,
he was number 6 on my list. Fuck that guy.
yeah, he was
Fuck
up
that
there
guy
on
big
mine.
time.
A lot of a lot of bad stuff. A lot of bad stuff.
And I just
And
feel like
and we have yet again another whitewashed view of him thanks to schools in this country. I think it's changed a little bit more recently. Like
Mhm.
there's been a little bit more um, bringing to light of what he actually did and was actually like. But I feel like when we were kids, like elementary school, it was like he was celebrated like as a just one of the greatest Americans. He wasn't American, but he was
Yeah.
like celebrated as if he was one of the greatest Americans, like which is just pathetic.
Yeah, when we were in elementary school,
so.
he was like the greatest explorer of all time, and he was the reason for everything good that's ever happened in this country. He was the fucking man. And now people have really soured on him, rightfully so.
So I wonder, because like I don't have kids learning about him. Like, is it just our age group who's like realizing how bad he is, or is that being taught now? I'm curious. Like, I don't generally know. Like, is it still being taught the same? And it's just that we have access to the internet and so much more that we've learned since, or has like the view of him actually changed educationally?
I mean,
Like, I don't know.
it's really hard to say because I'm basing so much of this off of like Twitter and the people I see on Twitter, but it's and like things like TikTok. But the young person's like at least the young leftist view on him, like the Zoomer generation, they're like universally against him. Like they think he's like the worst person. There's some of the people that are pushing the hardest for Indigenous Peoples Day, as opposed to Christopher Columbus Day.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I also like, I don't know. Like, I just assume his parents didn't love him, and that's why he like had to fuck off and get a country he wasn't even a part of to sponsor him and pay him to go find a country that he didn't deserve to have. Like,
But let the
fuck
record
outta
show
here,
that
dude.
Thomas wants to fight anyone whose parents do not love them.
I do.
So after this podcast, Thomas is going to come to Eberg and fight me. Kidding.
Oh.
I'm joking again.
Adding
Like,
1,000
your
on the
parents
jokes. On each episode, it's in there.
All right, so my number one, and honestly, my list for the most part could be in any order.
I would like
You
to
know,
stop you
even-
there. I would like to stop you there because I recall you shitting on me last week for that. I said that my list would be in any order, and you were like, well, at least my opinions on things are firm. I'm Thomas. I'm like a stable adult. I don't think you said that last part, but it's unimportant.
And those words have never crossed my lips.
All right.
No, but this is a different topic, so let the past be the past.
Oh, okay. You're a hypocrite. Got
it. So number one is Adolf Coors,
it.
the founder of Coors Brewery.
You're such a sack of shit.
So, and I'll say I learned about Adolf again from the Dial podcast. What's up? Well, he was anti-Semitic, so that sucks. He was a terrible father to his kids, so that sucks. But all those things add up to the point where, like, I really like Coors Light. I do. I like Coors Banquet. I like Coors drinks. I now feel guilty whenever I drink them, and I don't like it, and I blame him. So I'd like to.
This is a selfish thing. It's you don't like the way you feel by your actions. I got it.
He was a terrible person, but yes, this one is very personal. Very personal.
I guess. Would you say he's one of the most anti-Semitic Adolfs? Because I can think of another.
I will say, and I was gonna say this earlier, like, I tried to stay away from some like the mainstream picks, like
I think we all kind of did. We all kind of like.
I'm really proud of us.
Stalin, Mussolini list.
I was talking to Julia about it, and I was like, I really hope that nobody picks Hitler because he's a boring pick. It's like anytime you have an argument with somebody and then you compare them to Hitler, argument's over because it's just boring. Like you've just there's nowhere to go from there.
And like, here's the thing: like the whole, would you kill baby Hitler? Yes. No shame. Would I be happy about it? No, I don't want to kill baby.
To confirm, he's not on your list. But if you were to fight any iteration of Hitler, you would fight him as an infant?
I mean, no, I wouldn't choose baby. I'd choose, like, I don't know, 18, so it's legal to hit him.
All right. I think I'd choose Hitler at, like, 12. Like, he's old enough to fight back, but he's not old enough to fight back successfully.
See, I was thinking about that, but I thought it'd look bad to pick a kid, but you did it, so that's good for you.
I also picked a woman.
So did I.
There's a lot of equality on these lists.
I
picked a god. The god.
I did pick a god.
All right, settle down.
But the difference between our women is I didn't say, what was it? Quarter pounder and fries or something?
I said I'd get her with a 4-piece and a side of fries.
Yeah, I still don't know what that means, but it sounds
It means I'm
bad.
going to punch her 4 times.
I still
I don't remember a quarter pounder being involved.
Yeah, I'm just fat. It's fine. All right.
I could eat.
So
I could eat.
to go back, I could eat. My list: 5, Joseph Hatch, Penguin Killer; 4, Alice Moore, Textbook Ruiner; 3, was Reagan, now Anslinger, Ruined Pot, and probably the economy and prison system, blah blah blah. 2, Christopher Columbus, sack of shit. 1, Adolf Course, because he ruined a beer for me. And it upsets me to this day because it was my favorite light beer. And now I'm guilty when I drink it.
Good list.
Well, we should.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think you're gonna win on social media, but I do think people are likely going to try and educate themselves based on your list, and I think we should definitely direct them to do so because, like Andrew, pretty much everybody on our list is a relatively well-known people. Ayn Rand is probably like my most out there pick, but I mean, I learned a lot from your list. Like it makes me want to do a little bit more research on them. I have a suspicion Andrew's going to win again this week, and I hate that because I hate
God
Andrew.
thing. Yeah.
Do we each get?
I'm hoping
we each get one vote?
We'll go.
Because I'm gonna vote for Thomas. I actually am, this might be unprecedented in the 50 years from now when we're still doing list night. I feel like I'm only gonna vote for myself every single time, but on this one night, I think I might vote for Thomas.
If we're doing list night 50 years from now, guys, I'm just going to be so depressed.
Thomas, who would you vote for?
Me? Come on, I had a great fucking list.
Yeah, Andrew, you're an idiot. I'm voting for myself. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know in the comments what you want to see for the next video. We appreciate any and all support, and make sure you're also following us on Twitter and on Instagram. See you next time.